Okay, like there was something in the Putin Tucker Carlson thing that a lot of people seem to have somewhat missed because everybody seems to want to take what they can from that interview, which was, by the way, boring. Like it was the worst. He spent the first like half an hour rattling on about basically like in the 16th century, like Poland and Ukraine were actually part of Russia and Ukraine didn't exist. It's like none of that's true. Poland didn't exist at that point, but Ukraine certainly did. Like because like essentially that's why the Holodomor happened. Like,
But how far do we need to go back as well to say like something didn't exist? Because at one point Britain didn't exist in the way that it
well,
does. You know,
was
no country existed in the way that it
quite,
does.
but there's a point that basically no one seems to have pointed out that that Putin contradicts himself. It's like, well, if you're saying that basically Ukraine doesn't really exist and that Poland started the Second World War, which it didn't, um, and that's your historical claim to a broader Soviet Socialist Republic, then it's nothing to do with NATO expansionism, is it? So you're a liar, right? And furthermore, if it was about concerns about NATO being on the border of Russia, why are you trying to annex Ukraine? You're moving Russia's borders west towards NATO. So again, he's lying. It's a lie, right? It's purely about expansionism. Lebensraum was a phrase that has been used in the past. And he's not even shy about this. He's made comparisons to Peter the Great and stuff like that. A lot of are saying, see, he said that Boris Johnson was offered peace talks and he turned them down. Boris Johnson is responsible for the war. And it's like, do you know what the terms of those peace talks were? The terms of those peace talks were, we get Ukraine. Like,
I would just say the person responsible for the war
probably,
is the
yeah.
person who invaded a different country. For sake.
Yeah, potentially. And all this like, oh, NATO's been poking the bear. NATO's been poking the bear and encouraging him to invade Ukraine. No, it hasn't. Absolutely not, right?
And
Two
hold
things.
on. And hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. What about freedom? All right.
Yeah.
Ukraine has the option to do whatever the hell it wants because of freedom. Just because you don't like someone joining some other organization doesn't mean you get to tell them they're, make sure that they can't join it. And this is coming from the freedom crowd.
Yeah. Well, because they're thick, and again, because they're being contrarian. People don't understand what NATO is. They think of it as a conglomeration, and so in their conspiracy brains, to go groups of things are bad. One world government, one world army. This is obviously bad, and it's like most people don't even know what NATO is. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization is there to prevent Russian expansionism. That was what it was about, because at the end of the Second World War, Stalin was like, basically, you think I'm finished? I'm Stalin, motherfucker. Like, and so, like, and there was a huge amount of sort of like tussling over sort of, I mean, for Christ's sake, like, so many countries have since then tried to annex themselves from the USSR to become their own independent country. To several of Putin's points, Putin says, they agreed never to expand. No, they didn't, because it's nothing to do with you. The whole point of NATO was to stop you becoming tyrannical in Europe, okay? And every single country that has joined NATO, right, has got two things in common, or one of two things in common. Either they've been invaded by Russia, or Russia has said that they're going to invade them. That's why they've joined NATO, right?